Hello, a pickups video. Before I start, before I do anything, um, if you watched my last video, it was the honourable. I really struggled to say that word. Honourable mentions for my top, top charity shop purchases. Having filmed it a good month or so ago. See, this beard has been trimmed quite quite a lot, and it's regrown again, so it looks exactly the same as it did when I made that video. Um, believe me, it was about a month or so ago. Um, yeah, having filmed it a month or so ago, I've noticed a few things, or one, a few things I forgot, and most normal people would just go, ah, fuck it, shrug it off, put it down to experience, but not me, no. Up here is going, put it in, put it in, put it in. So, as an honourable mention, it might have even been made the top 15 itself, but I'm not gonna. I might go there. I don't know. Might have done, but as it is, it I forgot about it totally, and I don't know why. Weird. It's quite a good game as well, and it's sitting there on my shelf, and I just sort of must have scooted straight past it when I was picking all the games, like picking them off, But no, this, I don't know why I forgot about it, but it did. King of Fighters 95. It's just a random charity shop in Stevenage of all places. Not been there in a while. Just not seen anything in there in a while. It was just take it off shelf. That was nice, and it was just randomly on its own. No other PS1 games, just a random, quite pretty uncommon PS1 game. So yeah, I thought nice, but I thought I'd mention it because just for my own peace of mind. This isn't for you. Don't be mistaken. This is for you. This is for me. This is for me. I'll go barking, or if I'm not already. Right, yeah. Pickups. Uh, so I'm out of practice. Yeah, this is what I've bought. I've actually bought quite a bit, spent quite a bit. I inherited some money. Yeah, that's basically the long and short of it. I inherited some money, and it's allowed me to do. It's allowed me to do certain things that I haven't been able to do for a while. Although the first and most important thing I bought was a bed. Who knew how expensive beds were and mattresses? Like blew my tiny mind. And beds and socks. I've gone all in for socks. I didn't realise what my priorities were until I actually had some money to buy things I thought I didn't realise I needed, and it turns out it's beds and socks. But anyway, yeah. But there's a few things still I'd like to get. I mean, I've not spent masses, but more than I would have otherwise. A lot of this is just sort of like little bits here and there, or a couple. I think a couple are actually a couple are CEX credit. Although I've have since recouped all that credit that I spent on them, having bought other things and traded them in. So I'm still round about the same amount of credit as I was before, and I still can't spend it. I'm still waiting for some of the big hitters that aren't coming in locally. I'm even contemplating getting the train to the nearest one that has a copy of Megaman 8, which is Tunbridge. It's about £12 on the train. I don't know if I'm that. I might do. I've been thinking about it for a while, which probably means I won't. But it's an idea. But anyway, yeah. So I've recouped some of the credit. I didn't spend much. So I'm gonna anyway. So that's that. I'm gonna get to it. It's a mixture of stuff. And weirdly, there's some okay things in here. It does often seem to be the way when I can afford to buy things. That's when I see more stuff. Does anyone get that? Maybe it's sort of my mind relaxes. I'm not so picky, and it just feels like that. I don't know, but anyway, right. Let's get down to it. Let's get ready to rumble. These first two are two films I wanted to see. One of them is already on Amazon, but I don't know why I really bought it. You know, I didn't need to buy it because it's on Amazon, and I haven't watched it yet. But in my head, I'm just thinking that no, it's Blu-ray. It's Blu-ray. The picture's going to be better on a Blu-ray than it will be on Amazon, but it's probably no different. But anyway, they're two relative new recent ones, and they were like Blu-rays in Poundland Blu-rays. Did I ever say that? Poundland Blu-rays. They're £2 now. I bought them from 1 to 5, sometimes 5 to 10 Poundland. That's what I've renamed it. You know, very snappy. But yeah, Blu-rays, two relatively recent ones. If I bought them for £2, I can trade them in to CEX for £3. So essentially, it's like CEX have paid me to watch films. War of the Planet of the Apes. I'm not a massive fan of these films. The first one annoyed me slightly in that it portrayed like random apes as indestructible and able to jump through plate glass windows. If anybody's ever tried to jump into a plate glass window, they will know. Not that I have, but I'm guessing they will know that it's not quite as easy as films make it out to be, and especially on skyscrapers. If you threw yourself at a window of a skyscraper and like really went at it, you'd probably just bounce off, wouldn't you? They did do that, didn't they? Or was that my imagination? But anyway, War of the Planet of the Apes. That was £2. CX will give me £3 for it. So once I watched it, I'll trade it in. Yes, it's looking a bit dark. I've noticed a little bit dark. It's because of the weather, but it's also because I mentioned in my last video, if you watched it, next door, been pretty much empty for a year or so maybe, and new neighbours just bought it. They're starting work. They put hoardings right there, and it takes a lot of my light. And I've already decided that I don't like them because basically they're going to dig up their back garden and they're going to put in all these big extensions, and so they look a bit full of themselves. I've already decided probably all right. It's probably totally fine, but I've already decided I don't like them. And to give me, they're taking a bit more light. So I've got more of the curtains open than I normally have. Sorry, someone distracted me outside. More of the curtains open than I normally have. But it still looks pretty dark. Because it's sort of a combination of lots of things. But anyway, so if it looks Family Fortunes. And Hereditary, this is the one I was really keen to see, but this is the one that's on Amazon, and I still haven't watched it yet, so I don't really need to buy this, but I thought, you know, as in I could spend £2, trade it in for £3. And CX have paid me to watch Hereditary. Yeah. These two, if you go and look at the Blu-rays in Poundland, or 1 to 5 Poundland, sometimes 10 to 20, or what was it? I can't remember. You'll notice they're always the same ones, and these two are slightly different. You don't see these as often as some of the others. Right, one of my favourite films. This came from my local charity shop. Again, my local charity shop is paying out really nicely. As I said, it just tends to. A sealed version, a Blu-ray version of one of my favourite films ever. It's basically an upgrade. Dazed and Confused. I love this film. It just gives you this nice warm feeling. I love coming-of-age films. And Richard Linklater, one of my favourite filmmakers. Just, yeah, it was a bit of a no-brainer. This one, I'll show you. It's a bit heavy. I've got a glass of water there. I don't want to drop it. It's Lord of the Rings extended editions, £6.50. And there's 3 of them. They're 5 discs. You can get, as far as extended editions of Lord of the Rings, you get a 2-disc, which are the ones I had. I had all 3 films on the 2-disc versions. then they used to be more collectible, more expensive than they were, but they're not really much now. But then I saw this randomly in a charity shop, and it was all there, bar the first disc, basically the first half of Fellowship of the Ring, £6.50. And I went to, I was thinking to myself, because I mentioned it to the girl behind the counter, and I don't want to be one of those arseholes who barters in charity shops, even if it's not complete. I don't want to be, excuse me, it's not complete. Perfectly within my rights to bring their attention to it. Maybe they might have taken a few pounds off, but I just didn't want to be one of those arseholes. So yeah, I just paid £6.50 for it. I knew that was a good price, and I took a gamble because having got the 2-disc version of Fellowship of the Ring, which isn't expensive at all. That was a Poundland purchase, by the way. It's not expensive at all. If you traded it in, it would probably get you about £1.20 or something in Computer Exchange, and it's about £2.50 to buy straight up. But I took a gamble that the discs would be the same, so then I could take the disc out of that one, put it in this one, and it would be complete. And I'll just trade in the incomplete old one to not trade it in, give it to charity, and hopefully they won't just ditch it, considering it's not complete. Which, having thought up that idea, became a possibility when I started to think about it. They might just ditch it, which wouldn't be ideal, because I know charity shops will do, I think, if they can't sell things. But yeah, and now it's complete. It's 5 discs, all 3 films, 5 discs each, so 15 discs in total. And yeah, this, I think I could even trade it in. I'm thinking it's about £12 if I wanted to take it to Computer Exchange, and so I think something like 28. Maybe that's slightly, I can't remember. I did look it up, but you know, I like the films. I don't, I'm not likely to watch the sort of the extra content. I think there's sort of makings of and extra sort of stuff on all the 2 discs, but it's nice to have. And I can trade in the 2 Towers and Return of the King. So it takes to sort of mitigate some of the, is that right use of the word? Mitigate some of the cost. So yeah, so that was my thinking, and it made sense to me. Most recent charity shop purchase, and probably one of the best, not quite as good as that maybe, but this 50p, Ant-Man and the Wasp. So I'll happily buy DVDs for things like this, and then watch it for 50p, trade it in. This is another one. I think this is about a £3 film, DVD, even though it's a DVD. So like new Marvel films will tend to hold their value, even if they're DVDs. So yeah, and it's sealed. So yeah, I really enjoyed Ant-Man. Really enjoyed Ant-Man, and sort of was quite keen to see this. But like sort of, if you want to see it like on Blu-ray, it's expensive. But I'll watch it on that, and it looks pretty decent. Even as a DVD. And this is an upgrade. I've been buying stuff off Amazon. Not don't want to really make a habit of it, but I have been buying stuff on Amazon. Come to think of it, has anybody noticed, if they ever buy stuff on Amazon, random things, has anybody noticed that more than half the stuff for sale on Amazon is Chinese and sold out of a place called Shenzhen Guangdong? There's all these random items, sort of like weird random items. Literally everything has got a Chinese version of it on Amazon, I've noticed. And not that there's any problem with that, but it's more to do with the fact that the customer reviews are suspiciously positive. There's one in particular, because I've been doing I've been getting into wild camping recently. I think I did mention that in a recent video, and so I've been looking at equipment. And Amazon's not the best. I've realised Amazon's not the place to get equipment, because the better equipment's available elsewhere. But just I wanted to get a grasp on what was available, And this is one of the places I've noticed that half the camping equipment that's available on Amazon will be sold at Shenzhen, Guangdong. One of them I was looking at was an inflatable sleeping mat, and it was like there was I think it was out of about 35 customer reviews. There were no negative reviews whatsoever. They all got 5 stars. It was like 100%. And I thought, oh wow, that must be a good one. So I clicked on it. And these are all really positive reviews. I clicked on where it's from. It said Shenzhen, Guangdong. It's Chinese. So right, okay. I bet these reviews aren't 100% legit. And the main reason I have for saying that is because all of the names, or most of the names, a lot of the names, see, I've already dialed it back. Almost a lot. I'll go as far as more than 50% of the names attached to each review had surnames and first names reversed, like they do in Japan and China and a lot of Asian countries. The surname will come first when they talk about talk about a person's name. The surname will come first in the order, whereas sort of we will say our first name first and then have surname after that. But these were all Western names, but with that, it was like light bulb went off in my head. Like say it'd be like saying it'd be like having the name Smith John. Smith John as one of the reviewers for Smith John really like this camping mat. So it just made me think. And since then, I've been keeping an eye on it, and since then, a few people have given it this particular mat 1 star and going, it's a lot of bollocks. It deflates in the middle of the night. So all these people have bought it thinking it's great, thinking it's some sort of miracle product because it was like 100% like 5 stars, and then ended up lying on the floor in the middle of the night. So it's just something I've noticed. But anyway, yeah. So I've been buying stuff on Amazon. That was where this train of thought was going. Stalker, an upgrade. I've got an totally unsellable or untrade-inable version. It was like one of the multi-pack versions that doesn't have a barcode on it, so I can't even trade it in of the DVD. But I've got my eye on quite a few of the Criterion releases on Amazon, and they tend to be around about 18 quid, which is I can't justify buying that just for a Blu-ray. Some of them dropped down to about 12, but still I'm not. But then this one randomly went down to $9.99, and it's a film I really really enjoy, and that was enough for me. So yeah, and then I didn't think I was going to get it because it had got to that point where they say it's not in stock, they say and all available in 1 week, but no, it turned up a lot quicker than it should have done. But yeah, I love these covers, these Criterion covers. Everyone's different. I think everyone, they have one particular designer who does the design for each cover, and some of them they're really nicely done. I watched a Criterion video of the woman who designed the new the Godzilla, the cover for the Godzilla release, which is all Godzilla films. I don't know how much that is. I imagine it's expensive, but it's a really nice sort of cartoony front cover. But this one, I don't know who designed the cover of this one, but I just like the simplicity of it, and that's my sort of thing. It's sort of minimalist, but yeah, and ambiguous. The Stalker. Right, charity shop purchases. Sad Day, one of my I wouldn't say favourite, but it was one I regularly visited. Closed down. I went in there one day and the whole shop was empty, bar a few racks of DVDs and CDs and a few books. There wasn't any clothes or anything, just empty. and everything was 50p. And it was, or £3 for £1. Yeah, £3 for £1. It's just sad. And I overheard there was another girl in there who was getting really enthusiastic about books. She was like, "Oh, I'm going to buy so many books." And she took her books to the counter, and they were talking about why they were closing down, and their rent had been put up. They couldn't afford it, which is fucking shitty. You know, some arsehole landlord put the rent up, and they couldn't afford it, so had to close. But there was another reason. That particular branch always stunk like shit. I always wondered why it did. And quite often you'd go in there and they'd clearly been spraying airspray, and it smelled like shitty sweet smell. And I assumed it wasn't someone with bad bowels or bad guts, just sort of dropping one like constantly. And apparently it's bad drains. They had bad drains, which made the shop smell. But it's sad. And it just takes the piss when you consider things like did you know public schools are classified as they qualify as charitable for charitable status, so they have tax breaks like proper charities do. Private schools, why? I don't know, but apparently they do. But anyway, yeah, I had some stuff on the shelf. I took advantage. First two are CDs. This is Metronomy. Yeah, Metronomy, the English Riviera. I don't really know them. There's one very, very, very famous Metronomy song that you probably will know. I might even put a link to it. It's called The Touch. Yeah. No, The Look, not the The Look. You would know it. It's the lead singer plays sort of like an old school organ. And they're all done up like sort of like they're from the 60s. And there's this really cool bass line that kicks in sort of part of the way through. And it makes you feel very nostalgic. It's called the English Riviera, and it sounds a lot like old school sort of seaside music in a way. There's a lot of that in it, and so you probably will know the look, not the touch, the look. And it's a sort of song that I can listen to over and over and over and over again. I don't really know the rest of the songs in the album, but I bet a lot of people will know the look if they click on the link. It's the sort of song that gets used in adverts and things, and on other television programs. And an album that I didn't have from one of the best bands in the world, the Black Keys. This album is by the Black Keys. It's called Brothers, I think. Yeah. Black Keys, one of the best bands in the world. There's a few songs in here that you might know. I can't remember which one it is. But there's Tighten Up. If you watch the video to Tighten Up, it's really funny. These two little kids fight over this girl they fancy in the park. So, yeah, it's brilliant. I love the Black Keys. And so it was basically £3 for £1. So these were basically 33p each, and with them, basically as a spare case, a V-Rally. This was the only PS1 game they had, the only real game they had, I think. So you can see how it's getting dark. Yeah, it's just gone 3. Jesus. V-Rally, and this is a really nice case. So, yeah. More spare cases, and I think I don't really need. I probably do. Actually, I need different types of spare cases. There's certain games I've got with big cracks in them, but I don't want the standard. Oh, pardon me. Excuse me. I don't want the standard normal PS1 cases. I want some of the variations, but which I haven't got. Or no, actually, maybe I have, because look, I wanted one without the hologram, and I've got one. FIFA. This was £1 in a charity shop, as was this. So spare cases, £1 each, which I'm willing to pay £1 each for spare case, because as I've said in the past, it's becoming less and less common to see PS1 games out in the wild. So what I'm willing to pay goes up, because I can't think of how else I'm going to get spare cases, because it's not really cost effective to buy a cheap game on eBay and even sports games will probably set you back about £3 because you have to factor in postage, and then you don't exactly know what you're going to get. And people seem to charge way too much if they're just selling straight up empty cases. But I don't know. So that's still the best way to get spare cases is sort of hope that you see them in charity shops and hope they're cheap enough. So, you know, it's the cheapest way I think to get spare cases. I think even, you know, I doubt I'll spend as much as £2. I think at the most I might have spent £2, 152 maybe. But, you know, I don't need that many. Right. On to some other stuff. I did a trade. Was it my last pickups video? I had a pack of cards, Mario Party cards, e-reader cards, and Woollyweeble, Duncan. I was interested because I couldn't use them. He was interested, and we worked out a deal, worked out a trade. So, you know, it's very simple, really. If someone's got something I want and I've got something they want, we do a trade. You know, it's really that simple. And if they're not a bell end, then, you know, brilliant. We can do a trade. I don't trade with bell ends. I've been stung like that before. So, you know. So I'm as simple as that. Have something I want and don't be a bell end. There you go. Right. And so I thought it was my new neighbour. It's not. Someone else. I'm so easily distracted. Yeah. It was a game he offered me a selection of things. I said, would you be happy if I had that? And he said yes, and that was it. It was just a straight swap for Geist on the GameCube. I just think it's just a game I've really always been interested in, and there aren't. It surprises me that there aren't more games that use this sort of this idea of use the idea of ghosts in some sort of game mechanic. But you know, you think it would be a way to create quite an interesting sort of interesting creative gameplay. But no, this is one I've always been interested in. It's in brilliant nick, but you know, I wouldn't have expected any different from Duncan, because it's being the sort of like the top quality GameCube collector he is. His stuff is just, and I can't believe this isn't good enough for your collection, mate. This is a good 9 out of 10. I'm not, you know, but yeah. So cheers, dude. Good to do business with you. Give me a shout if I've ever got anything else, you know, you want. Yeah. So that's that. A charity shop purchase. Bit of a mistake. This one. Thought it was a game, and it's not. But it's basically Warriors of Might and Magic, and I thought it was a turn-based strategy game, and it's not. The one I'm thinking of is Heroes of Might and Magic. Warriors of Might and Magic is sort of like a crappy, sort of a third-person adventure game, fantasy adventure game, where sort of really early. I think it's in there. Is it a blue disc? I can't remember. Probably isn't now. Probably find it's not. No, it's not. 3DO. They always make crap games as far as I've noticed. But it's in nice nick, and I'll probably keep it. I thought it, like I said, I thought it was a turn-based strategy because I was getting confused with Heroes, and this is Warriors. But you know, it's a bit crappy because the main character, the animation when he's running animation makes him look like he shat his pants. You know, and he sort of like runs like that. You know, I might do a demonstration. Should I do it? No, I don't think you'd get the full idea of what I'm going on about. You just, yeah. So I won't do a demonstration, but he sort of runs like this and sticks his arse out and looks like he shat his pants. But yeah, I might just send it to charity. Back to charity. I can't even remember how much I paid for it. I remember how much I paid for this because it's still got a price on it, and this was from a few days ago. Wii Party, my second copy of Wii Party, because I think I showed one. actually my last video, didn't I? That didn't make a charity. My last pickups video. This made the sort of honourable mentions in the very early part of that video. This is £1.50. It's getting dark. It's how dark it's getting. It's only 3:15. It's going to be all juddery. I know how it goes. It goes grainy and juddery when it gets dark, and because this sort of that lens, not brilliant. Even though it's a Mac, you'd think it'd be better. But yeah, £1.50. Probably a trader winner. Like the last one, but the last one I tried to trade it in, and the kid in Computer Exchange. I wanted to say to him, I didn't want to just sort of like hand it over and say and let him discover that the disc had scratches on it. It was a massive amount. It was probably sort of a 5. It probably needed. I hadn't tested it actually, but it probably did work. It didn't look that bad that it wouldn't work. But he went. The kid went. Oh no, it's way too scratched, and it's just annoyed me slightly. And then he goes, "Oh yeah, and we haven't got a disc repairer." I went, "Oh no," and I went, "Oh, where have you got? Where's the nearest one?" And he went, "Oh, there's one in Barnet, And then he goes, "Oh, can you so what discs can you repair?" That I was playing dumb. Oh yeah, you do everything. The only disc we can't do is like we can't do PS1 games because apparently if you put PS1 games in it wipes all the data off. And I'm thinking, does it really? You sure about that, little man? Because he was a little bloke, young. It's funny, isn't that funny? When you go into places like Computer Exchange and they try to educate you, they don't really keep in mind that there's a possibility you might know a little bit more than they do. But they always talk from a position of authority, and they always go, "Oh, this is how things are." And you can either enlighten them and say, "Well, I know different," or you can just sort of like let them talk. And in the end, I just let the kid go, "Oh yeah, it wipes all the data off the disc." I'm pretty positive I have got PS1 games resurfaced in the past, and they have worked afterwards. But he didn't know what he was talking about. The little bastard rejected my first copy of We Play, but £6 this will get me. So I might keep it, but I'll probably trade it in. So there you go. Oh, the pile's getting a bit big. I'm going to have to start on a different pile. Put that there. Or I could just move my mouse. Let's move my mouse. Yeah. So there you go. So yeah. You didn't know what you're talking about. This game has been on my radar for years. I don't know how good it is. It's more to do. It's sort of connected to a television program. One of my favourite television programs of all time. Battlestar Galactica. I think it came out probably round about when Battlestar Galactica was sort of on the telly. The remake, and if no one's seen the remake, it is one of the best television programs of all time. I've seen people say it's rubbish, and those people are bellends, and I'm willing to fight anyone who says otherwise, that says that this isn't rubbish. I'll fight anyone. I might lose, but I'll fight you either way. I probably will lose. I'm not a fighter, but I'm not a lover as far as either. I'm somewhere in between. What am I talking about? Anyway, Battlestar Galactica. It's pretty much what you expect. It's sort of like Colony was with a Battlestar Galactica theme, but it's the actual design. It's from the original television show. Disappointingly, it doesn't have Katie Sackhoff like looking all sweaty, punching a punch bag. And it has the old designs for the Cylon ships. Yeah, I'm pretty sure it does. No, it doesn't. I thought it did. It does. They're on the front. As you might have guessed, I've not played it. It seems to be just like a weird hybrid of the old and the new television programs, as far as I can see from the case. But it's supposed to be really tough. It's supposed to be really tough. But that's what like I said, I've been looking out for this for a long time. And it's one of the things I remember from when I was reading up about it and watching gameplay videos, that it's meant to be really tough. But yeah, it's just a little one. It was only £2.50. Right, this is where I've been spending a bit more money. I'm probably going to get to the point where I'm not going to sort of go mad, but it's just I was a bit less picky over when I've been out and about. I've been able to be a bit less picky, and certain things, if they were well priced, I've been able to buy them without really thinking about it. This one is a case in point. RPG Maker FES. I don't think this is even meant to be that good. I can imagine it's really disappointing. In my head, I can make the perfect RPG that I've always wanted, which is basically a cross between Suikoden, the character recruitment Suikoden, and the permadeath turn-based strategy of Fire Emblem. Anyone imagine how good that would be? It'd be brilliant. Imagine going through the storylines and recruiting all these people and sort of learning their backstory and sort of understanding them and getting to know them, and then dying permanently in a battle. That's, I think that would be amazing. That would be brilliant. Although, having thought about it, I'd probably be too shit scared to play it in case one of my favourite characters died. So, maybe not. I don't think you're able to do that sort of thing. I think it's just quite standard sort of dungeon crawler type. And I have read reviews of it, but it was in Game. This is the first game I've bought from Game for a long time, and they barely have any 3DS games there anyway. And this was on the shelf in my local branch, and they'd had a really small selection for a long time, and a few just sort of had been added to it, and they didn't have any prices on them. So I took it to the counter, and the guy, he rang it up, and it was $7.99, and that's about half what it goes for on eBay, and it's probably about 20 quid in computer exchange, and it was one I wanted to give a go. So like I said, it's $7.99, and I was sort of able to sort of take a punt on it. But yeah, he said to me when I was paying for it, he goes, "Oh, you're my first customer because I'm new." And basically, he rang. He took a long time. I felt sorry for him actually because I've worked in retail, and he took a long time to ring it through. And in the end, he gives me my receipt, and he goes, "There you go." And he hadn't put the manual or the cart in it. I mean, I can have the manual and cart, please. He went, "Oh yeah, sorry." But what he didn't do was because he was new, and I'll give him a pass. Like I said, I don't want to be one of those arseholes. He didn't take my game card, which I know I had a bit of credit on it, about £1. So I could have got £1 off of this. It could have been like $6.99 or something, But I'll keep it for next time. I felt sorry for the guy, but yeah. So RPG Maker FES. Again, a random CX purchase. This was this was credit. I had credit with me. I've started realising I should probably start using my credit because the credit notes wear out, and they might lose some of their data if certain elements become unreadable. Like there's a transaction code. It's letters and numbers. You note that down. I've been told, because they don't consolidate credit notes now. I've got about nearly £300 worth of credit notes, about 12 of them, and I've been told that they won't consolidate them into one new note. They can reissue. Apparently, they can reissue notes issued at certain. If you get a note from a certain branch, they can reissue them, but branches can't consolidate lots of notes from all over the place into one. So, and they told me if you're worried about losing the data or losing sort of like the information on them, you can note down somehow note down the code I think it's generally about sort of 8, 9, 10 digit code, which is letters and numbers. You can on the back generally, or you can save it on your computer, take a photo or something like that. Take a photo of the note. So, or you can just get digital digital credit notes, which is simpler. But me being me, I still live in the Stone Age. I'm a Luddite, which is the technical term. I'm a Luddite, so I still deal in pencil and paper, and none of this newfangled digital stuff. So I spent £8 of my credit on a Megaman X7. Not as good as Megaman X8 by all accounts, but this is a really nice condition copy. So I thought, like I said, I used one of my old, most worn out notes on it, just so that then they could reissue me a fresh one. And it was readable. So it was all right. So it's just something to keep in mind. Like if you've got a collection of notes, note down the little code on the back, or record it somehow with a photo, or wherever, or just get a digital version. Megaman X7, not supposed to be good as X8. I quite like it, but no, I do like X8. But yeah. Two more evil Amazon video Amazon purchases. I accidentally. Oh no, that was it. I got one of their trials, their Prime trials. Just so I could sort of use their Prime free postage. Yeah. And, I was going to cancel it before the deadline, but then I forgot, and then they charged me $7.99, and it really pissed me off. So I thought, fuck it, I'm gonna make use of this free postage. Now I've got it. So I bought something that had been I've been keeping an eye out for a long time, or keeping an eye on. It was a Demolition Girl. It was for a brand new PS2 game. It's £5.10. It came from Italy. That's the Italian thing, isn't it? So it's. I don't think there's a standard UK version. These are the only versions you get. Apart from there's a German one, probably, maybe one with Spanish. I think it's German, maybe Spanish and Dutch or Portuguese. I don't know. But this is the British, French, and Italian version that will come from Italy if you buy it. It comes from Amazon in Italy. But yeah, I think it's about £4 in computer exchange. But weirdly, lunatics are willing to pay sort of about a tenner for this crappy game. Basically, I think you take photographs of a giant woman as she attacks cities. Yeah. I think it's just a funny game, and a fiver for a brand new PS2 game. I thought, and like I said, it was one I'd had my eye on for a long time, but I'm sure for a while back, not that long ago, maybe about a year ago, it used to be about £2-3. But like an idiot, I didn't jump on it, and it's now gone up to about £5.10. But still, like on eBay, people are prepared to pay sort of nearly £10 for this. I don't know why, but yeah, it's just a little oddity, This one's another one that I've been keeping my eye on, and on Amazon, and the price had gone up a lot. So it's pretty much ruled it out. But then randomly, a person listed a load for £8, which is not a bad price for this. For again, a sealed PS2 game. I think this is the only version that you can get. I've showed it. It's opening up. Excuse me. Right into the microphone. Disgusting. Opened up a whole new line of collecting for me. I had sort of thought, no, I probably won't buy any of those because it'll only mean I want to get all of them. Because there's 6 of these arseholes. I think 6 or 7. I think 6. But no, this is the most accessible one. I think the ones, and two, no, 2 and 2 another age, really cheap. 3 is about tenner. And after this I think it's 4 maybe. Then there's 3 more after this, or 3 more. What would that make? 7. They go up sort of 15, 20 quid, and there's one that's sort of about over 30, I think, which is Last Raven's the most expensive. But oh well, now I've got it, I'm gonna have to buy them all, aren't I? just a nice little sort of side collection, you know. Silent Nights, 8 quid. I think the guy's still got some. 8 quid for, like I said, it's brand new. Don't know where it comes from. But it's made by From Software, and you know they're always quality. And is it made or distributed? Made, I think, isn't it? Yeah. These are games I've always wanted to give a go to, because I know I like them, but they're the sort of game, if I can really get my head around them, and I'm that's where the main hurdle. If I can get my head around them, I will enjoy them. But generally, if I need to get my head around something, I don't bother. That's why Tetris is one of my favourite games ever. It takes like 1 button or 2. So, yeah. Silent Line Armoured Core. This one, I think, if you're looking for Armoured Core on Computer Exchange, some of them, this is Armoured Core with the American spelling, without the U. So if you type in Armoured Core without the U, you'll get 3 or 4 of the PS2 games. The rest, you have to put in the U, because whoever's created the listing on Computer Exchange has gone with the English spelling. And the rest, so 3 or 4 under this spelling. The other 3 or 4 are, you have to type in Armoured Core with a U. So yeah. Mech games. I think some of these, I don't know whether this one exactly, I don't think so. Some of them have sort of turned into sort of like arena mech games, which I'm not really that bothered about. I like the ones with the sort of storylines, but like I said, a few of them are sort of arena based, and I'm not too bothered about. But I probably will end up sort of, you know, spending money that I probably shouldn't on games I'll never play. But this one is Credit from Computer Exchange. Finally used some of my credit. My local branch, it had 2 decent games turned up. I thought, fuck it, I'm not going to get the other one, because the other one was Street Fighter the movie, and that's more of a novelty than anything, isn't it? It looks awful. You know, I know it's quite an expensive game, but I'm not sure. You know, I might do. I've not even checked if it's any good, if the condition's good. It's just sitting in their window. It's still available. Street Fighter the movie. But this one was rated as boxed, and this is one I've had an eye out for a while. It was Blazing Dragons, like Discworld, Broken Sword, Discworld, point and click. Yeah. And it's got the voice of Terry Jones. So, don't really know much more to say about that. And one of those, I think it's FIFA 2004, is a case without the hologram. So because this has got a few cracks in it. I don't know if you see it. There you go, look, a few cracks in it. So the case will need replacing. But 30 quid, I think it's a little bit high. I can't remember. Maybe they're round about the money. I think generally they go for a bit less than this. But another game I've been keeping an eye out for a long time. It wasn't majorly high up my list. It wasn't one of my priorities. But I thought if I saw it locally, I'd give it a go. Yeah. And it was all in credit. So I just wanted something I wanted to say, but sort of with my sort of strategy when it comes to credit. I try to build up credit, you know, with things I know, you know, like so I pay small amounts for things that will get me a bigger amount of credit. And once I've got the credit, I do keep half an eye on how much CEX charge for stuff, because it does tend to make that gain of paying a little for a lot redundant if you're overpaying, if you're paying some of their higher prices. Because, you know, undoubtedly some of their prices, not all, by no means all, generally generally they average out as about right. But a few of their prices are really high, and I thought if I buy things with credit that are those high prices, it does tend to make the gain I've made. Does this make sense? The gain I've made of buying something cheaply and getting good credit for it, it does tend to make that redundant. So I thought that was a decent well priced, and like Megaman X7, Megaman X7 is well priced at £8. I think it's over 10. I think, but like for instance, some things I can't remember. There's a few PS1 games, and they're about £50 too much. And I think what's the point in me going through all this trouble of finding all this good stuff that's good for trading in if I'm just going to waste that gain, sort of paying their sky high prices? So that makes sense, doesn't it? Yeah. But anyway, this one was an eBay purchase. Last two eBay purchases. Not had an eBay purchase in a while. So you can see that I'm sort of spending a bit more recently. Yeah, gun gauge. Last time I went to the gaming market, I bought a copy of gun gauge. Didn't realise that the back was water damaged, so I've been keeping an eye out for at least a new back cover. But this one turned up, and it was about £20, and the seller offered it to me for a lower price. I counted at about 18. I think their postage was £1.97, so in total I paid just under £20. I can trade my other copy in to Computer Exchange for 18. So basically, I've paid £2 just to replace a water damaged back sleeve. So it makes sense in that sense. But yeah, that's the strategy. So it's a decent game. I actually I wasn't sure how good it was going to be, but then I played it, and actually the controls are more responsive than I thought they'd be. It's still really pixely, it's pixely, but it's like a poor man's Sin and Punishment, I suppose you could say. Or that might be even putting it in that same realm might be slightly giving it more than its due. So, but it's a decent game. Have a go, Gun Gauge. Look up some gameplay. There's have unlockable characters. And finally, another eBay purchase. I think was this. Did I offer? No. I think I paid about £30 for this, which was actually a really good price. That was it, because it's a American PS1 game. All of the American versions of this game go for a lot less than they do if they're sold out of the UK. I'm guessing because people buying them in the UK are factoring in sort of postage and import charges, and so they're more likely to pay more in the UK because all that you don't have to sort of deal with all that sort of thing. But this one was priced based from the UK. Seller is in the UK, but it was priced like an American one, so it was about £30. I think in the UK this will go for a lot more on auction. And I just got a bit lucky because I think it'd been on for a few hours and it was relatively late. It was about 12:30, so it wasn't that late. But I made sure it was well priced to begin with, and I realised it was. And it's a game that's been on my NTSC PS1 list for a while. Not for a while. Since I not for a while. I've not even had it that long. It's Parasite Eve. It's a really nice nick. It's got the bonus disc with all the demos on it. Some good demos as well. Both discs, really nice manual, and it was a really good seller. And I think the seller, I can't remember how much postage they charged, but they spent more shipping it to me, which I always appreciate. I don't appreciate the people who charge a lot and then spend less. I prefer the people who charge a little bit and spend a bit more. I like it that they take the responsibility rather than put the responsibility. I'm not going to go off that. I've got Parasite Eve, really like Parasite Eve on the PAL PS1. If anything, I'm imagining this is going to be more my sort of thing, because I think Parasite Eve 2 looks like Resident Evil. This looks like Final Fantasy 8. And just purely for that reason, I'm imagining it's going to be more my sort of thing. I don't have a modded PS2, so I haven't had a chance to play it. That's one thing that I probably will buy before I've stopped spending some of my inheritance. A PAL PS2, so maybe in sort of the next pickups video you'll see it. But yeah, that's it. Nearly an hour. I've edited. I'm going to edit all of the rest of my top charity shop buy videos, so they will be coming up after this. They'll probably be before my next pickups video, so I'll try and put those out over the next few weeks. All it just needs to be edited. It's been sitting there for ages, about a month, unedited, and I just sort of fuck it, I'm going to go and edit it, and I did, and you know, finally got my arse in gear. So yeah. Before we get to an hour, I'm going to let you go. It's getting dark and it's getting a bit juddery and pixely. So, have a drink. And let you go. Thanks for watching, and keep an eye out for my it will be numbers 15 to 11 of my top charity shop purchases. And you can generally see the general standard, because my honourable mentions were of a decent standard. This was an honourable mention, so you know, better than this. Mostly, some of them have other reasons for being there, but not necessarily sort of like collectability. You know what I mean? Anyway, I'll let you go. Cheers, peeps. Thanks for watching. Thanks for watching. See you later. Bye.